This is Take Flight with Mark Whittle.
Welcome to Take Flight. I'm Mark Whittle, former city worker turned performance coach, and this is your place for inspiration and education on ways to optimize your performance and find your purpose.
Conor the Destroyer Benn!
I'm here for one purpose and one purpose only. So this is more than me.
Talk to me about that signature left hook.
Something special.
At what point when you were growing up did you know who your dad was?
3 years ago I realised that, mate, my dad's like uppercase G. That's what I do, you know, no risk, no reward.
Yeah.
I'm a strong believer in that. I was just such a mess for such a long time, I think. Just so long ago, and it feels like there ain't even that person in me anymore.
Cabin crew, passengers, prepare for takeoff.
Conor, welcome to the Take Flight podcast.
Pleasure.
Mate, thanks so much. We're in matchroom. They've sorted us out with one of the rooms in the boxing office. Have you done an interview in here before?
I have done, done numerous. Yeah, I know the room very well.
Yeah, familiar. So I wanted to start this off with talking about your son, Eli.
Yeah.
It's Eli.
That's it.
Yeah. So I've got a daughter. She's 2 in July. So just to understand, like, what's that been like for you?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, I think as he's got older, it just gets better. Do you know what I mean? I find the dependency so endearing, and how he just relies on me his whole life. Like I am his life. It's just really warming. And he's like the happiest baby. Like my son's the happiest baby. You'd never would have thought, would you? Do you know what I mean? But he's a little diamond.
How old is he?
He's 14. 15 months.
15 months, okay.
Do you know what? I never used to get it when parents go, my child's 15 months or 13 months. When it just go like a year and a half, but you just stick with the months, didn't you?
Until 2, I reckon. And then
Do you reckon?
I think, mine's 2 in July. I reckon I'll just say 2 then.
And then 2.5, 3.
Yeah. It's just the best thing in the world though, isn't it?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest thing you've taken from the 15 months so far for yourself?
I'd probably just who I am. Do you know what I mean? I think that's probably what's changed much is who am I? Do you know what I mean? I can't be like young and reckless and making bad decisions, because ultimately he looks up to me. Do you know what I mean? I am his measuring stick in terms of life, how to be, how to conduct yourself, how to speak. And that's just the way probably the way I've changed most, is becoming more of a man.
What has it said, or how has it shown you who you are? Like, is there something specific where you've realised, or you've had a moment? Because I've had the same thing, right? Because they really show you the mirror, don't they? Like things that when you get wound up, or especially when my daughter was a newborn, it would really bring out like some anger that I didn't even know was there, or ways that I just wasn't good enough. And I had to step up a bit more. Yeah,
see, it's funny because it's not career related at all with me. In terms of my son hasn't benefited me at all in my terms of career or mindset, in terms of fighting, winning, achievements. It's more so, just who I am as a man. Like, what do I stand for? What do I represent? What decisions do I make? On how they influence my family, how they shape and mold my son.
Yeah. So it's the pressure though, isn't it? To feel like that's you got to walk the walk and talk the talks as the example to them. Yeah,
don't get me wrong. I made a lot of bad decisions in my life, and I've made a lot of good ones. But I really think since he's come along, he's made me realise that there's a lot more I need to work on. Do you know what I mean? But then again, school's never out. You're always learning. I can't make young decisions anymore.
Yeah.
I have a son that I've got to be a role model for, not just look after, but be a role model to as well. Really set the bar.
Well, I'd love to talk about your official education further down the line, because you're educated to master's level, right? You done masters?
In fitness.
Yeah, in fitness.
Yeah.
What you said there, like school's never out. Like, where are you doing like the quote unquote work? Like, where do you do your personal development? What do you turn to?
Not so much anymore. Right now, I focus fully on fighting. That's my main focus. That's my main objective, is just fighting. Do you know what I mean? And studying that game. I don't really have time to focus on getting distracted by anything else at this present moment anyway, where I'm so close to getting that world title. I've really applied myself to the game. But as far as my certificate 3 for my master's degree in fitness, it was something I enjoyed. I love learning about, all the parts of the body. I just found it fascinating, and it was something I enjoyed. So if I weren't fighting, I probably would have gone into. I still would have been heavily involved in sports, whether it was setting up my own Benn Academy, whether it was whatever it is. I would have been successful because I applied myself. It's just the same way I apply myself to boxing. I've applied myself to whatever it is, whether it is education, which I struggled with if I'm not interested. But if I'm interested, I'm straight in there.
Yeah, but what a message for life, right? If you're interested, we can really get the most out of things and reach whatever our potential could be when there's no interest.
Well, I just find it so, the same with school. School's good, general knowledge is good to know, But as far as when it comes down to the important years of really deciding what you want to do and really, what you want to do, you're not interested in anything else, dive straight into that. Fully focus on that. Don't anyone tell you can't do that, or go for it. Do you know what I mean? I think the system can hold you back. I weren't the greatest at English, definitely not the greatest at maths, literature, history, geography, science. But what I did know how to do was learn about my sports and the science of it.
Again, love to come back to that, mate, further down the line. Like talking about baby Eli. What about baby Conor? Like, I find it so interesting doing the research.
What do you mean?
Like, your upbringing and your family life, like as a child, what was that like? I found it really fascinating doing the research on it.
That question, you need to be more specific because I can't really answer that question. There's so much to my life growing up.
So when did you move to Spain, for example? And
I was obviously born in Greenwich. I don't remember living here, but I was here probably for maybe 4 or 5 years of my life. And then moved to Spain for 12 years, which was a great change, I'd say. When you see the kids here in comparison to some of the kids in Spain, how much longer you keep your innocence. I didn't know about no designer. I wasn't spoiled. I lived a very privileged life, but wasn't spoiled, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I had a great upbringing. I thought my dad and mum not going to work, living in a mansion was normal. I went to private schools, 2 private schools over there. One was a very religious school. My dad was a pastor for a short period.
Really?
Yeah, we used to host Sunday services at our house in Spain, and then we used to go to church as well. So, yeah, that was what my upbringing was. I used to sing in the church choir. I used to love longboarding, skateboarding,
Really?
BMXing. Yeah.
What about the schooling? Was Spanish the first language in the school, or you were in an English school?
It was bilingual.
Okay.
But I learned Spanish from my friends.
Right.
So all my friends were South American. All my friends. I don't think any of them were from mainland Spain. So that was how I learned my Spanish. And my parents don't speak Spanish. So it was either I speak like Cockney English with my parents or, South American slang Spanish with my friends. So, and that's how I learned it, really.
Have you still got some Spanish now?
Yeah, fluent.
Yeah. Are you?
Yeah, cool.
Could you say some?
No sé qué decir.
What's that?
I don't know what to say. Yeah, I'm fluent in Spanish, yeah.
That was funny. When I was a baby, I was taken over to Lanzarote, which is obviously a Spanish-speaking school. So my first words were Spanish as well.
Can you speak Spanish?
I can't anymore, no. I've forgotten it all. But my first words were mira, which I think is look.
Mira.
Yeah, mira.
Yeah, look, yeah.
And another one that I picked up in the nursery while I was over there.
Yeah.
I think it was like stupid or something. I was calling my dad stupid. But yeah, the lifestyle over there is just different. Even just the weather makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Oh, the weather makes a massive difference. I think life's too short to be waking up in the cold and the grey weather. I mean, yeah, I'm here for one purpose and one purpose only.
Yeah.
And then I'm off somewhere hot, mate. Say that right now. Do you know what I mean? Life is way too short. I mean, my dad had the right idea, to be fair.
Where would you go?
Somewhere, I don't know. I mean, I think Europe, stay in Europe.
Yeah.
But then, you see, Australia's too far. But then you've got Dubai. So it's like, I don't really know. I'd like somewhere with all seasons.
Yeah.
Not just Cold.
America, mate. That's where
Yeah,
I
but
lived for a while.
that's too far for me.
Yeah.
I think it's just too different over there.
What about like all your training camps are here, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know some of the lads go over to the US, don't they, for their camps?
Yeah, but my trainer's here, and I'll stay with my trainer through to the end of my career.
Yeah, Tony Sims.
Tony Sims.
Yeah, amazing.
I'll stay with him till if in the next year he goes, I'm gonna stop, I'm done, Con. I'd find it very hard to carry on.
Amazing loyalty. Again, we'll talk about the boxing side of things a bit later on. So coming back to that childhood, I'm sort of getting a picture of like what that was like: skateboarding, longboarding,
Yeah.
bilingual, private school, and then back into the mansion.
Yeah.
But I've heard you talk about the painting and decorating that you did.
Yeah.
And how that was like, you know, for discipline and how your dad treated you.
It's a bit of a liberty, really, from my dad, to be honest, because basically I weren't the greatest kid in school. I mean, I wasn't a bad kid. I was an energetic kid. Do you know what I mean? And you know, that's completely fine. There's nothing, you know, I think people are really quick to diagnose
ADHD or something like that.
ADHD, and then what's the other one? ADD.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you know, I'm just an energetic kid who's a million miles an hour. Do you know what I mean? I don't like the labelling.
Get him outside in nature.
Yeah, get him outside. If he don't want to sit down in class for it's not normal for a kid to sit down in class for 8 hours, however many hours.
Yeah.
It's not normal. Do you know what I mean? Maybe for some kids we're really academic, but I mean, listen, I'm academic, but I'm not like, I ain't going to sit down and listen to you talk for an hour about, well, frankly, I don't know what, but I ain't interested.
Yeah.
Sit down and talk to me about how the function of the body works, or how this muscle helps, about hydration in the body, how much water you can survive on water longer than food. You know, I found that so fascinating as a kid, and you know, I'm not interested in anything else. So yeah, I was always good at sports. So I've gone off the question, they probably would have. I was just an energetic kid in school.
Yeah.
So my parents took me out of school. So I'd done paint and decorating, which they made me paint and decorate for €20 a day, from like 7 a.m. to around 4 p.m. €20 a day, like, which is hard graft. Like, I used to paint these mansions, and it was for €20 a day. I remember I saved up. I bought my mum a little diamond tennis bracelet, and not obviously real diamonds at €20 a day, but then I bought myself a watch and a phone. And I remember I saved up for like a year for them 3 things, and it just taught me a valuable lesson. My dad would never give me money, ever. So what he used to do is nick change out of the. Do you know what was weird though is how he noticed, because you know, like if someone took change out of my car, I wouldn't even notice. I'd take like a couple euros, €3 maybe, to buy myself like a drink or something, and he'd kick off for me taking the euros out. I'm thinking, mate, like, and now looking back, I go, mate, that's like, you are, like, I just can't believe it. You know, like if my son took euros out, I think I'd be like, yeah, son, he's a £5.
Yeah.
And he wasn't that dad. So the reason why my legs are so big is I used to have to ride from Santa Ponsa to Palma on my BMX, which has no gears, which is why I think my legs are so big. Like, my legs are huge for the weight.
Yeah.
So that would be where I think that stems from.
What was the lesson? So, you know, when he's sending you out painting mansions, it's like the Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off, innit?
Well, I mean, I wish it was that effective, but it wasn't. You know, I've probably got big shoulders from all the ceilings I got all the shit jobs.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But that's fine. I enjoyed working. I'm a grafter. I actually enjoyed painting. I actually love painting and decorating.
Yeah.
You know, I used to really challenge myself, like cut around the cobin or the skirting with no tape, and really try and not get it on the skirting or the cobin. So, and that was just the way I was, and that really did teach me in terms of the life I live. I know is because of my dad. You know, which is a luxury life, but that's his doing. He made me work for what I wanted, so I could never ever go to my dad. Oh, Dad, yeah, can I have 20 quid? He wouldn't give it to me. No way would he give it to me. And if he did, I'd be like so grateful. And he wouldn't give it to me if I asked. He'd just give it to me if he felt like it, which I don't remember much as a kid. But yeah, like some of our clothes we used to wear from the Salvation Army. like, which you'd think, surely not. They just weren't, my parents weren't ever really like materialistic like that. Like I was raised really normal, but with a great life. If you know what I'm saying, like normal in terms of, if we didn't live in a mansion and my parents went to work, my upbringing was very normal.
I suppose that you were given the discipline through the way you were treated and brought up, but you also you were fortunate enough to be able to see what was available through hard work, because your dad had done that and created this life which you then were a part of.
Yeah.
I'm interested to know with the painting, right? You said you were so into almost challenging yourself, but like the craft of painting and challenging yourself with the corners and not putting the tape up and stuff. And when I spoke with our mutual friend Dan Lawrence, who's your S&C coach, he said you're just a student of the game.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a similar trait, like the challenge of getting around the corners in the painting, with the same sort of dedication and passion for what you guys do in the gym.
I think everything you got to do, there's no point doing it if you're not going to do it passionately. But then again, I think I'm not sure if that's a great thing, because anything that I'm not interested in or don't want to do, I won't do with love. But if I'm going to do something like the painting and decorating, most people go, it's so boring and bland, and not to me. Do you know what I mean? I worked in retail for a little while, which was just terrible.
What shop was it?
It was, I think it was called Glue in Australia.
Okay.
I lied to get the job. I said I worked in Topshop in England, which I never did. And then the manager was there, and it was just one of the most funniest sights watching her watch me try and fold up a t-shirt after I got the job. And then it was just like, it was game over from there. I was there for about 3 weeks.
Have you always had an interest in fashion? And
No, it was never really interested in fashion. I am now becoming more interested in my fashion. I was never really interested, but I prefer like labour jobs. Yeah, like I've done scaffolding as well.
Hard work.
Yeah, I prefer hard work.
Physical.
Yeah.
At what point when you were growing up did you know who your dad was?
Quite late, very late.
Because you weren't exposed to him as a fighter.
No, it depends on what level you're talking of knowing who your dad is.
Yeah.
I mean, it was only maybe up until 3 years ago, I realised that my dad's like, uppercase G. Do you know what I mean? It was, so it wasn't...
3 years ago?
About that.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, it was about 3 years ago, because I wasn't growing up as my dad being Nigel Benn.
Yeah.
He was my dad, and he sold all his world title belts to charity.
Did he?
Yeah, sold them to charity. I think one got 50 grand, the other one got like 25. Went straight to charity, all of it.
Why?
Because the church we was in was very religious, and my dad's achievements were frowned upon, and his boxing life was classified as the dark life, the dark destroyer, who was now dead, and he's a new man. Very religious way of looking at it, but obviously that was how I was raised. So my dad's accomplishments were never accomplishments. They were his past life that should be forgotten about.
Do you agree with that?
No way.
Does he still feel like that?
No way, not anymore.
No.
It was just, but then again, that's what I was raised believing. So now looking back at it, I just look at how pathetic that is.
Yeah. But I find it fascinating. So you didn't grow up with this image of him as one of the best boxers in the world. No. British icon, all those things. So at what point did you get introduced to boxing? Because you're talking about longboarding and skateboarding and BMXing and...
Played the guitar.
In where?
Played the guitar.
You played the guitar?
Yeah, I used to listen to Avenged Sevenfold, Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
That was my vibe.
Amazing.
I know, it's really weird when I speak
awesome.
about it, because it's like that was just so long ago, and it feels like there ain't even that person in me anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Don't know, that person definitely ain't in me no more.
But the person who still has the curiosity and the creativity, the one who was, because it's creatively driven, all that, those passions, right? The different sports, the music, all those things.
Yeah.
Has it just applied to sport?
Well, I do a couple of things. Do you know what I mean? Now, like I'm still into my music. But I mean, as far as that sort of music, I haven't even got it on my phone. Do you know what I mean?
But what about, so then going back to the boxing, is that,
Yeah.
When did you first get introduced to it?
When I moved to Australia.
And how old were you then?
I was 16.
Really? And was that through your own doing, or was that your dad or other influences?
I actually don't remember how it came about.
Really?
I thought when I go to Australia, I'm going to try boxing. And then got to Australia. Oh yeah, no, I do remember. And then it was like, oh, we're looking for a boxing club. And then we went to a Blacktown PCYC, which was like a youth helping centre for like troubled kids. And my dad's done voluntary work there to get the visa we were trying to get at the time. And it's community work, community service.
Yeah.
And started boxing there, and then that was that.
Did it feel natural? Were you like noticeably good, or?
I don't know, man. I think I was terrible, to be honest. But I'm going to say that. I don't know. I don't know what happened, to be honest, but I started boxing, got my boxing license, and had 22 amateur fights in 1 year. Stopped boxing for a year, and then turned pro. Yeah.
So I'm just wondering where, like, was there a moment when you suddenly thought that you were good, or like?
No. I didn't think I was good at all. I basically, so from, 17 to 18, I had my amateur bouts, which about 22 of them, 23. I then didn't box for a year, 18 to 19. Didn't box. 19, I come to England. I train as an amateur, train with Ricky Hatton in Manchester, and then I turned pro, and then
It's wild. How did you get on with those amateur fights? What were the records?
I lost maybe 2 of them.
Right, okay. So won nearly all of them.
Nearly all of them, yeah.
Yeah. And what was the year off about? What was the break for?
I couldn't get to the gym. I couldn't train, so I couldn't compete, obviously.
How come you couldn't get to the gym?
Just life. Life got in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I couldn't train. And then yeah.
So I find that so interesting. So there's a year where you stopped after having 22 fights in 1 year, and then you did nothing for a year, and then something happened at some stage.
I didn't even train for that year.
Didn't even train?
No.
And then something happened in those 12 months where you decided to basically put all your eggs in one basket, come to the UK and try and turn pro.
I didn't plan on turning pro. I just thought I'd come to England for like just change of scenery, do my own thing. And then I come here, stayed with Ricky and moved straight to Manchester. Was going to go in the ABAs, try for the Olympics. And then I come down to the matchroom gym. I got invited down to the matchroom gym because Tony Sims, my trainer, he knows my mum and dad from back in the day. They used to spar together. And we was like, I'll come down the gym. And they said, does Conor want to spar? I was like, all right then, I'll come down and have a little spar. Spar the top prospect of everyone in the gym. I've only gone and put him down in the spar in front of everyone. And then I've never done that before in my life, put anyone down in sparring, put him down. And then before you know it, I'm walking out to a packed O2. Mad, innit?
How long after that little spar where you knocked someone down until...
Almost instantly.
Was it?
Yeah, because I was still living up in Manchester at the time. And then once I had that spar, I basically come straight down here within like 3 weeks notice, and then was out maybe 8 weeks later.
Sounds like a whirlwind, man.
It was, yeah. It's like a bit of a blur for me, to be honest.
Was how much of that was like conscious thought, like where you're like, right, very directional?
I thought, you know what, you can't make this up. I've never put anyone down in my life. I put someone down on the day where that needed to happen, and in front of the right people, and then that was that. Then
so what is it? Is that fate? Is it
fate? The most definitely, because I couldn't make that up. So when you're talking about how I've got to where I've got to now, when I doubt myself, when I have doubted myself, I think that you can't make that up. So this is a bigger picture. This is more than me.
I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
So is it? Can you explain what that feeling is when you feel like pulled to do something?
It's not even pulled to do something. I just feel in the times of doubt or in the times of uncertainty is to remind myself that I couldn't have done this. The doors had to open. there's a million other doors that I could have walked through, but obviously they were shut. You know, this door just opened and the opportunity took it. I didn't let fear hold me back from taking this opportunity. Was I ready? No, definitely not. When I look back, no, I was not ready for what has presented itself to me. But, you know, I wasn't going to let fear hold me back.
But it's interesting, mate. It's a consistent theme of everyone I speak to is that people do it before they're ready. And you can talk about imposter syndrome and all this self-doubt and other things that go on in your head, but 100% of the people who have achieved great things in their life had to do it and perform and get in front of people and talk the talk before they were ready. You have to.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't believe in myself so much. No, I didn't believe in myself. I just thought, let's see how far this goes. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, like, let's, you know, ride till the walls fall off sort of thing. And obviously it pays off. You see so many people I know who are probably one of the smartest people I know who have come up with these ideas, but they just let fear hold them back. And I'm like, mate, like, why? What do you gain from that? Do you mean anything real?
How do you know, using yourself as an example, but for people listening, like, how do you push past the fear? Because everyone feels it.
It's not real. You know, fear is probably, that's why I've got tattooed on my neck, fear is a lie.
Yeah.
Because I think, well, fear ain't a lie because it is real, but fear is a lie. It's an illusion that it can cripple you. It can make you believe something that ain't even there. You're fearing something that may never even happen. You know, it can stop you from being successful. There has to be some sort of element of fear in becoming successful along the way, whatever that is. You know, I used to fear it getting in the ring every single time I got in the ring. Do you know what I mean? Because what if I get knocked out in front of hundreds of thousands of people? Or, you know, there's just so many factors that you just got to take that bold step. You got to take that bold move. You got to do what others want because they let fear hold them back. You've got to be willing to prepare to take that step. Trust in the process. There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be adversities. You know, that's inevitable. It's part of success. You know, I think once you realise fear ain't nothing but a thought in your head that you choose whether to give it arms and legs and let it grow, you know, or you just kill that thought off and, you know, put it in your rearview mirror where it belongs.
I love it, mate. I love that. You said you used to fear getting in the ring every time.
Yeah.
Like, are there tangibles that you do to manage the emotions of fear?
Not anymore. I have like a 3-hour nap before walking over to the arenas.
Really?
Yeah. My last 2 fights, I have like the best sleeps on the fight day. Yeah.
Because all the work's done.
Yeah, it's done. Like, I don't even get nervous. My last 3 fights, I haven't even got nervous. I had maybe a little bit of butterflies. Like, I'll wake up, I'll have like a nap during the day before walking over to the arena, and I'll have like a little, like maybe a 2-3 hour nap. I'm a napper, by the way. Like siestas.
Same. Oh,
you
of
know?
course.
Yeah, siestas. I've like every day, like around 12 to around 3, prime nap time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I love the idea that everyone's out doing work or whatever, and I'm just here in bed sleeping. It's such a nice feeling. Sorry for those who can't do that. But anyway, yeah, so I'll have a nap and then I'll wake up, I'll go, like I'll get like a little butterfly in my bed, I'll go, I'm fighting in a few hours. And then that's that. That's like as far as my butterflies go.
I was doing the prep for this last night, like writing the questions down, and my missus walked in and I was like, what would you ask a professional boxer? What would you ask that? And she said, how are you going to get in the ring knowing that you might get punched in the face?
Might. I mean, it's almost a certainty.
Yeah, might.
But I say if you got in the ring, it'd be very unfamiliar at first, but I reckon in like 5 years' time, you'd be like an expert, like just seeing shots. I mean, listen, that's why everyone's gifted at what it is they do. You know, if I was to sit here and try and interview you right now, I'd probably be able to do a terrible job at it. Do you know what I mean? But with experience and with, you know, time, everything just becomes normal. And then people may think, well, you're crazy because how can that be your reality? It's just my reality. It's just my normal. You know, it ain't to so many, but it is to me.
But yeah, so what is that? Is that perseverance? Because like we don't think about the 5 years, do we? We want it now, or we think like, right, I'm setting this goal for myself today, and then we immediately think about what the outcome is going to be, not the process of getting there.
Everything is timing. I think everything is definitely timing, and some things take time. You can't rush it. You know, You can't rush nothing in life. Everything comes when it comes. Even like everything's timing. Say something that torments you, or mistakes that you've made, or regrets that you have. Timing heals that as well. Do you know what I mean? Timing heals that. Timing will help you get used to whatever it is you're going to get used to. Everything just comes in time. Experience, learn how to deal with things, learn how to cope with that, deal with this, put that behind you. I think, but then again, I don't know, I think it's age as well. But then again, I'm only 25, so I don't know, I think timing just is the key answer to pretty much all things.
Is there like an example, one of those, saying like adversity or mistakes that you've made? Is there an example of like something that you've done which time has healed?
Early on when I got put down in my career.
Second fight was that? Second pro fight?
No, this was maybe my 6th, 7th, or maybe 10th, I don't know. But early on in my career, it was like, it's only just taken me up until 2-3 fights ago to actually like put that behind me.
Really?
Yeah. Which is a long time to put something behind me that happened so quickly and long ago. But, timing heals all.
And what, is that just letting go of that thing that happened? Or what do you do?
I wouldn't say so much. I would say letting go. But every day further away from that is a day further away. Do
you think that because it sounds like there's a synchronicity between letting go of that being knocked down and not having nerves on fight day? Do you think there's any pattern there?
Well, for my whole career, I thought every fight was going to be as hard as that. So my measuring stick was, this fight could be as hard as that fight. This fight could be as hard as that fight. Every fight I've had since then, who have been way better caliber of opponents, have been like not even 10% of what them fights are. That fight was. Do you know what I mean? So everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine I might have been walking around now thinking I'm all around a bag of chips if I didn't get put down.
Yeah. Change the way you behave.
Change the way I behave.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
I'd love to hear a little bit more about, like, I've heard you talk about when, it might have been from that knockdown actually, or one of the fights that was particularly tough, and then a few times in your career, I think you said 3 or 4 times, where you've felt like you want to give up. Like
quit. Yeah, about 3 times. But then again, the public, I struggled so hard with the public and the stick I used to get. It was like...
What stick did you get?
Silver spoon, this and that. But then it was, obviously it's irrelevant now, do you know what I mean? But when you're starting out and you're a kid, 19 years old, choosing to do the hardest sport in the world, and the abuse you're getting, like you're getting fired abuse every single day of the week. And, it was just hard to deal with at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So how did you come around from, I think I want to quit? Or how long did that thought even last?
Few days.
Really?
I reckon.
Yeah.
Maybe one time, maybe like 6 months.
Really?
Yeah. Because I've broken my jaw, I've torn my tendon in my hand twice. So I was like, I broke my jaw and I was like, mate, this really ain't for me. Like, this can't be for me. Then my second fight, one you're talking about, I had a really hard fight, I didn't get put down, but I was like, mate, this boxing ain't for me. Many times I thought, what kept me going? I can't really tell you, to be honest.
No. Do you know what, because I also heard that after that one, you like went in the change room, you just crying, like, what the fuck?
I've done that about 3-4 fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I think about like what we're doing here, the experience of life is feeling as much as possible. And on one day you've felt every emotion of the fear of fighting, and then the exhilaration of actually being in the ring, and then, the flow state, that like shifting psychological state of actually probably being in there, and the focus that comes on with that, and then the sadness afterwards, or the anger, or whatever it was that led to that.
It's all just one big mess when you put it like that. Do you know what I mean? Unless you can really tell the difference, which I didn't know. I was a young kid. I come to England as a young kid. I was just such a mess for such a long time, I think.
But mate, you're only 25. Do you think you grew up quick?
I had to. Yeah, when thinking about it, mate, I was like, looking back now, and I know where I am now, mate, I weren't in like a great way at all. Dealt with a lot. My family weren't here. So it was like, it was difficult. It was so hard. But then it only just takes for me to now talk about it to remember how hard it was for me back then. I mean, I wasn't living the life that everyone may have thought I was living. Do you know what I mean? It weren't a nice way of living, you know. So, but in the long run, this is what I'm saying. Time, you know. Look at where I am now, mentally, physically, emotionally. You know, if I had to go through what I had to go through, then to get to where I am now, that's fine.
Yeah. What changed during that from being in a bad state to being where you are today?
A better understanding of the world and how the world actually works.
Right.
As someone who's in the spotlight. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Like industry and commercialism and all that stuff.
Industry, commercial,
Politics.
people, politics, money, just the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know.
I remember reading or listening to, it was Kevin Hart's audio book, and he was saying it's like a personal development book, really. But it's like, if you're going on the journey, any journey's tough, but if you're going on the journey, which is in the spotlight, it's a whole different game.
Yeah, it is challenging. If I could just be a fighter, get paid and go home, that's fine. But there's so much more to it.
Yeah. When I spoke to Dan yesterday, he was saying about, you know, you're a student of the game and talking about that, which I find so fascinating. But he also said that you're so dedicated to the performance program.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. So I'd love to hear a bit more about, because you're saying you're just so used to it, right?
Yeah.
But like, what is it that you're used to? Like, what is your week panning out like? What are the things that you're doing?
Everything I do the best to the best of my ability in terms of training. I know many fighters, many athletes talk about it, but they're really about it. Not really about it. Do you know what I mean? And I think the difference is, I'm half hour early all the time. I was here early to this anyway. I was here 20 minutes early.
Yeah.
You know, I'm at the gym half hour early. Obviously today's going to be an exception, but I'm always at the gym half hour early all the time. Every session for the past 3-4 years, I've been half hour early. I never turn up late, even down to the looking elite. I don't like sparring in unmatched sparring outfits. So if my gloves have got to match my ball guard and my head guard. Otherwise, I feel like not elite. You know, even down to the colour coordination, it has to be elite. The way I'm lifting doesn't have to be lifting heavy, but it has to be lifting like an elite athlete would lift it, which is intent, drive, attitude, all demonstrated in one lift. Do you know what I mean? I want to look like, wow, when I lift. You know, when I do my sprinting, I want to look like a sprinter. When I'm doing my sparring, I want to demonstrate confidence. I want to demonstrate skill. You know, so it's not just, you go through the motions. No, I don't go through the motions. You know, when I get in the gym, if I'm not in the room, I'll make myself get in the room. Do you know what I mean? And it's all down to the little Dan Lawrence would always go, "Oh, God, are you sure you can do that load?" I'm looking, mate. Like, what do you mean, Mosh? Are you sure I can do that load? What sort of question is that? Do you know what I mean? And then I'll smash it every single time. So, you know, I'm always trying to raise the bar in whatever it is.
What does that do for you to be 100% on everything you do, to go all in your words?
I believe it's a mindset. I apply the same principles to my life as well. If I'm in. You know, and it's got to be 100% every single time and no less.
How do you decide, like, what's the right thing to go in on?
Again, time. I would ponder and think about it for a little while. I wouldn't think about it too much, because I think thinking too much ain't always the greatest thing.
Like overanalyze,
which is a lot. You know, what if, what this. Sometimes you just got to take that risk, man. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it don't. You know, I've had a lot of things pay off for me, and I've had a lot of things that don't. Do you know what I mean? But you never know. But then again, some people don't mind. I had to do my own thing. Yeah. Whatever it was, I had to do my own thing. So I didn't mind taking risks. I'm a very risky person. That's just the way I am. Whereas my missus, she's not risky at all. Don't like no risk. You know, whereas I'm ballsy with what my moves are.
Probably why you're together. One's got to have the stability.
Yeah,
It's a similar in my relationship.
Yes, got to have some stability there. Otherwise, I just make ballsy moves. It's just what I do. No risk, no reward. I'm a strong believer in that.
So, when you're saying when you're all in, I suppose like that mentality allows you to have the confidence. You made the decision, you're all in, you are, you've done everything in the preparation. Where I'm seeing this come to light is right before the fight starts and you go and touch gloves. I don't think there's anyone in the fight game who has a more fierce look in their eye than you right before the bell goes. When you like the face off, literally the moments before you start.
Yeah, I just get the ump when I get in the ring. So I'm like, what, you think you can beat me? Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, mate, there's no way you're beating me. Like, what are you gonna beat me at? Do you know what I mean? If you beat me at skill, you beat me at, say you beat me at everything, you still ain't gonna beat me because you ain't gonna break me. That's like just the way I look at something. Like, there's no way you're beating me. And I've got the ump a little bit that you think you can. I think that's just the way I channel my aggression, I guess.
Yeah. Have you had the Will Smith quote about running and reading?
No.
The kind of two pathways that help you overcome anything in life is reading, like whatever you're facing. There's almost certainly been someone who's faced it before and they've written about it, so you can read about it. Or running, to have that ferocity, to be running against somebody else. And he says there's two ways, there's two outcomes. Either the other guy's going to get off first, or he's going to die running on the treadmill.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and that's my mindset. Do you know what I mean? But then again, I'm just so I can't do any more.
Yeah.
In preparation, like there's nothing more I can do.
Talk to me about that signature left hook.
I'm right-handed, but I've knocked more people out of my left.
Yeah.
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I think I really turn into my punches. So I just generate a lot of power when I throw. I don't throw to score points. I throw to hurt. And I think that the first round is the first impression. I think impressions are everything. When you go into a business meeting, the first impression is everything. When you go in to meet a girl for the first time, first impressions are everything. When you introduce your missus or your partner to the parents, first impression is everything. When I go into the ring, first impression is everything. So I'm going to let him know what he's in for.
That's so good, mate. When I first left the corporate world to do this full time, I fell into a bit of being too casual, wearing hoodies, sweatshirts, because I was like, well, I work for myself now. I can just be me. And I lost that for about a year. Yeah. Until about a year ago, I was just like, mate, what are you doing? Again, first impressions is the energy that you hold. It's not how you're being represented, how are you being received, energetically or otherwise. Like, how are people picking up on what you're doing?
I think that's very important, but I mean, mine must be misinterpreted because everyone thinks I'm very intimidating. Everyone. I don't think I'm an intimidating guy until people tell me oh, mate, you're well intimidating, or they're shaking to come to me after pictures and I'm thinking, mate, if you knew how soft I was, honestly, mate. You
just turn it on and turn it off?
Not intentionally.
Right.
I'll watch my fight back and I'll go, I can't believe that's me.
Really?
Yeah, it's mad. I'll watch my fight back and I'll just think, mate, it's really weird because obviously everyone sees me fight now, but it's not who I am.
Yeah.
Part of me feels like I'm that church boy who plays the guitar and skateboards. But then the other part of me is well, not anymore.
Yeah. But are you allowed to be both?
I don't know I am what I am, but I just question it sometimes. Because I watch fights back and I just think, mate, I can't believe I do that for a living. I can't believe that's me. Where does that aggression come from? I haven't had anything happen to me as a child or anything happen to me for me to be as angry as I am.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm not always angry. So it's where's the switch flip?
You'd be an interesting case study because people talk about genetically it's passed down as well, all my other siblings, every one of my dad's other kids are unlike me. No other fighters?
other fighters, but not like aggressive.
That's back to that fate thing, the God-given.
Yeah, I mean, you can't put in what God left out, or take out what God put in. So,
Well, part of what like drives people on, spurs people on, like you're training every day, you're disciplined every day, and the work that I do with people was like such a huge part of that is tying yourself to the vision, tying yourself to the future vision. That's what allows you to keep going. That's what allows you to push through the adversity.
I do hear that, but I do think a lot of people have the vision without the work ethic.
Yeah.
Where what's the secret?
Yeah. Put the picture on the wall and it all comes true.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It don't work like that. What people realize, they have to put the work in. They have to take risks. They have to trust the process. They have to just keep going progressively. Not let adversity. There's a lot of things you got to go through to get to that. Don't get me wrong, it's achievable for anyone, but you got to have the right mindset to do so.
Yeah.
It's not just, look on the wall, pray 5 times a day, and it's going to come off. It don't work like that.
What is your vision though? Like if you are holding something in your mind of why you're doing it, what's the purpose? What's the vision?
My vision, you ask any other fighter, it'd be to be world champion. My goal is to be the best version of myself I can be. Be the best I can be. Whether that's unified world champion, world champion, not world champion, whatever that is, being the best version of me I can be. I think there's a fine line between confidence and delusional, in my opinion. Because I hear a lot of people go, I'm going to be world champion. It's like, mate, like, I'm not going to break it to you, but like in my head, I'm going, mate, how do you think that? But then to hear me is just being really confident. So I don't know. I just think to myself, as long as I can be the best version of myself, be the best version I can be, do everything I can in my power and trust the law of the universe. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at, is I do everything I can. Whatever that is, I will do the best I can and then just trust fate, trust the law of the universe to bring me whatever it is that I'm entitled to, because I'm working extreme. I can't do any more for it than I possibly can. Yeah. If that makes any sense. Does that make any sense?
Completely, mate. Yeah. You're doing everything within your control.
Yeah.
And you'll go with the flow. Like basically to be the best version of yourself, like boxing and the pathway of public eye and everything else is such an incredible route to challenge you. And with every challenge you get better. With everything that you face, you grow. With every piece of negativity, you learn more. Like,
don't get me wrong, it's not nice. Like sometimes I just think, I'd love to have just stayed in Australia and painted and decorated and, lived in my dad's mansion with my other siblings.
But would you have felt purpose in that life?
I don't know, because I was so young when I come here. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I had to find myself. I lost myself and I had to find myself along the way.
Have you found yourself?
Now I have. But I was lost for a very long time, but you're going to be.
Do you feel a sense of fulfillment or content?
Now I do.
And does that come with becoming a father? Or?
Yes. I'd say the first few months were challenging in terms of the responsibility was like, oh my gosh, it's a bit overwhelming. I can't even look after myself. Do you know what I mean? So how am I going to provide for my family? That falls on me to look after my wife and my baby at 25. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it was like, then it was another pressure that I wasn't able to deal with. I've got now this life for the rest of my life to look after, when I feel like I can just about look after myself. But you become, it's now, I don't have that. But then again, it comes down to this thing, time. Trust the process.
Yeah.
Timing always has its way of revealing things. And now it's like, I'm so fulfilled with my family, my baby, my house, the life we live. It's a blessing, but then again, I've gone through so many emotions as at 19 to 25, your crucial years of growing and developing in terms of the person you're going to be. That, mate, I have been all over the gaff. I don't know. I've been so all over the gaff in life, you know, outside of boxing, in the ring, I've been all over the gaff, you know, and it's now made me who I am today. Yeah, I've gone through a lot of life.
Can we talk, like, I've got one more question before we do a quick fire three at the end, but last one, we were talking as we were getting a coffee before about what you're doing outside of the ring, in your investments and some real estate stuff, and just really interested to hear that, and for people to hear more about probably a side they haven't heard of from you before, and your interest outside of sport and boxing.
Interest outside of sport and boxing ain't really much that I'm interested in. Obviously you got TV work, music, I've done acting, which is stuff I enjoy, but in terms of investment, as I said, I'm not adverse to risk. You know, I don't mind a bit of risk, probably more than I should. I've won some, I've lost some, but I've probably won more than I've lost, 1,000,000%. You know, investments in stocks and shares, I stay away from crypto, not my bag. I don't know enough about it. I know everyone raves about it. It has a trend. My opinion on it, if Elon Musk, one man on the planet, can, you know, make the market crash, I'm not going to put my money in that man's hands. You know, when he can do whatever he wants. I feel like that's too vulnerable for me. It's, you know, too volatile up and down. So I like to stick with, you know, either commodities. I've got gold bars, you know, then, you know, they say it's God's money, property as well. Other companies that I'm on the other side of the IPO on. So, you know, yeah, definitely get my money scattered around all the gaff. I don't think just money in the bank is great. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to have money in the bank, but I don't think it's not making my money make money. You know, if anything, the banks are using my money to make money. So I'd rather use it myself to return me interest yearly, monthly. Just make sure we're good for the next 20, 30 years of our lives.
Yeah, is that a forthright of what happens after your boxing career then?
I don't know, because I'll always earn, even when my career's said and done. Like obviously I got my certificate, 3-4 master's degree in fitness. I will do PT. I will, when my boxing is done, I will train people. Obviously I'll be selective with who I train, but and I'm not talking fighters. I'm talking train individuals. Train yourself.
Yeah, I'll come and train me. I train once a week at the minute, mate.
So that's what I'm saying. I'll always do something. So as long as I've got my foundation.
Yeah. Conor, thank you, mate. Last 3 questions, these quick fire rounds. So one thing that you've discovered or come across recently you're particularly excited about?
I feel like I know the answer to this. I feel like there actually is an answer for this, because I feel like I think it's something I've watched. Oh, that was it, but I finished it now. But it was The Matrix. I never watched The Matrix before, and I was like, I've done all. Is it 4?
Yeah,
I've done all 4. Yeah, and I was never really into Harry Potter as well. Actually, I feel like I could do Harry Potter. I'm actually going to
films.
Yeah, I haven't really watched them.
Yeah,
I watched Lord of the Rings. I love them.
Yeah,
and Hobbit and that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch Harry Potter. That's actually what I'm actually looking forward to.
Yeah,
I was actually thinking of new things I could watch. I watched all the box sets. So Harry Potter's the next one, yeah.
Yeah. All right, amazing, mate. It's so good. So good.
Is it good?
Oh, mate, yeah. I mean, I read the books like 2 years ago for the first time ever, and they're unreal.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would get into reading, but like, I've probably read. There's a period of my life where I read about 2 books in a training camp. Yeah. And it was books of faith, and I read the 2 whole books. But I feel like I really got to be into something to read in. Yeah, for sure. Hold your attention. Yeah. One habit you'd recommend all listeners to incorporate into their day? Drinking water first thing in the morning. Hydration. Yeah, first thing in the morning. Just regulate normal water. Normal, sparkling. Just drinking like a glass of water in the morning. Amazing. Last one. Take yourself back to a particularly challenging moment in your life and imagine that there's 2 versions of yourself. One of them's gone on to do everything you've done today, is sat opposite me, and the other one didn't end up doing it for whatever reason. What's the difference between the 2? If there's like a single trait that differs between the one who's gone on to achieve all you've done and all you're going to do, and the one who didn't do it? The fighting mentality. I think that applies to not just boxing, because the hardest fight is life, really. You know, the hardest fight is life. I'd rather go 12 rounds in the boxing rings than with life. because sometimes there is no hope in life. Sometimes you think it's the end of the world, and you feel like your corner throwing in the towel, or you feel like taking a knee and not getting back up. Life cannot be fair. You may be getting rabbit punching low blows, behind the back of the head, and it's not exactly like you got a referee there telling you not to do that, telling life to stop. Sometimes you feel like life may just be getting on top of you, and your back's in the corner. But I think championship mindset is what will get you through that. Yeah.
Thank you, mate. That was amazing.
I mean, that was a good analogy there.
Unreal.
Yeah, so
Pulled that out, didn't you?
that was actually a good night. That actually just got me off the cuff.
Yeah, it's sick.
So yeah, that's what I think. I think life is. I feel like the hardest fights I've had, I've been life.
I felt that when you said that. That's why I love boxing, because it's such a metaphor for life. Like, you've nailed that. I really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I don't know how I got. That was a good analogy. Well, my missus listens back to it. She'll be really proud of that analogy.
There's the highlight clip. Right there. Conor, thanks, man. It's been a pleasure. Honestly, I'm so excited to see what you go on to do. Most exciting thing in British boxing, and such a humble guy, man. It's really nice to meet you.
My pleasure, mate.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Conor.
Thank you.
You have reached your destination.
Hey, it's Mark Whittle. Thanks so much for watching or listening. It's so great to have you a part of the Take Flight movement. Subscribe to the podcast on all platforms, video and audio, to be the first to see new episodes and new conversations with the greatest minds in the world. Follow me at markwhittle_TF on all social platforms, and visit takeflightworld.com to join our growing community of hustlers, performers, and go-getters. I can't wait to see you next time. Until then, stay positive, stay motivated, and of course, take flight.